I am so tired of coming on this podcast every single week and telling you to stop playing T.Y. Hilton. Like, just stop it.
Mikey needs help.
Mikey needs help.
I was like, if you don't have Jeff Wilson in here, and if you don't run it on first down, I'm gonna strangle you through that TV.
You should know better than everyone else. That fool tears you up when you plays you.
Yeah, but
Don't you want him on your team?
I have him at number 25.
Thank you. Fine. Todd's the reasonable one on this show.
I take issue with everything he said there.
Well,
I really do.
DeAndre Swift. He's gonna break them tackles, son.
That's bold. That's bold. That's putting your nuts on the table right there.
Hey, there's the first time for everything.
Waxing poetic over here with Todd Diamond.
Dude's old.
So what? He's not as old as Brady, and you're jerking him off before the show starts.
I have Sutton in my top 10. I have him at number 9. Yes.
You know what? I'm just canceling the league. I can't do this with you guys. Hello, MHA owners. Welcome to the semifinal recap edition of the MHA podcast. Eric Lansing, Todd Diamond, Mikey Renault with you on this show. What's up, fellas? How was your holiday season going?
Fantastic. Love it. It was felt like a normal Christmas.
Mikey?
Wait a second. Wasn't it supposed to be Hanukkah, Todd?
Hanukkah was already over. Okay, we already lit the menorah. We already got lit. It was okay.
Already got lit.
We got lit. Nice to hear.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Yep. Mikey, how are things going with you?
Things are going all right. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the consolation championship. What could be better than that?
Yeah.
Congratulations. That is so amazing. You know what you win for winning the consolation bracket?
Yeah, bragging rights over the other non-playoff teams.
Oh, are they even putting in their rosters at this point?
Yeah, from what I can tell.
Oh, really? Well, good for them. But yeah, you win absolutely nothing. Bragging rights don't mean anything. But good for you. I'm glad you're winning now.
Look, remember what I said a couple weeks ago? I didn't want to be in the position that I'm in right now because I felt like if I could make it, I could do some damage. You know.
And have you? Are you putting up decent point totals every week?
Yeah, honestly. Here's the funny part. Had I made it, I'd be playing in the championship right now.
Oh, wow. That is sad. That is sad.
Isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. But interesting. All right, guys. Before we get going, we were talking about this before the show. For those longtime NFL football fans, we lost a legend in John Madden, longtime Raiders coach, longtime broadcaster, football broadcaster, and of course, video game mogul as well. He passed away yesterday. We're recording this on Wednesday night, so Tuesday at the age of 85. Guys, what do you remember most about John Madden? We'll start with Mikey.
It's just kind of like I think of like certain voices as like voices of my childhood. Him being one of them. So like, I mean, when you thought like football, it was always Pat Summerall and John Madden. Like basketball was always Marv Albert for me when I was a kid. So that they're kind of the soundtrack to sports watching, growing up. And so, yeah, I mean, I'll remember him more for that. I mean, of course, there's the video game, but for me, it's more the broadcaster.
Todd, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, kind of same thing, kind of Mikey was saying, and to the fact he was on all 3 networks, so that just told you, his knowledge of sports and how people, how many people were, bidding for him to be on their network. I mean, the fact to be on CBS, ABC, and NBC and Fox, that's amazing in itself. And the video games. I mean, the fact that now his video games are still going strong, and there's tournaments, people win money, and everything trying to win Madden, and that just Madden just the games just brought you together. I just remember playing those games with my cousins and everything like that, and it's amazing. I mean, he is on the Mount Rushmore, of just a football. If you're just looking just pure football across the board, he's there. So I think right now he's probably enjoying a turducken right now as we speak. So good on John Madden.
For me, I think it was I think I learned a lot of football knowledge from John Madden. Like, he did such a good job of kind of explaining things in a way that I could understand when I was 10 or 11, 12 years old, trying to figure out how the game of football worked. And he always did a great job of just kind of explaining and in detail, and just kind of, for someone like me who was getting into sports, it made me it took me from a casual fan to a deep-hearted fan, and I wanted to get to that point because I love the game of football so much. And so I think he was a big part of that. And the last thing I'll say about it is, for whatever reason, it sticks with me today, and my dad and I still joke about it today, is the butt sweat. He would always talk about the offensive lineman or the defensive lineman, and the butt sweat. He would circle it on the replay, and that's how you know that guy is working hard, is the butt sweat coming in. So I always thought that was weird, but also entertaining. And so I think it was just, yeah.
I had never heard the term cankles if it wasn't for John Madden. He would say, the offensive linemen, if they didn't have ankles, because the calf and the ankle kind of just go into each other, so they have cankles.
Yeah. So there you go. Learned so much.
And the telestrator, you got to just love that, how it was just like, boom, this guy goes here and boom, and now he's going to throw the ball. But like, that was amazing in itself. So I like that.
So it was tough to hear the news, and he was 85 years old. So I hopefully that most people felt he lived, or his family lived a great life. So tough to see, but John Madden, one of the greats, will always remember him. All right, back to the podcast. What's coming up on the show? Well, unfortunately, we'll talk about the two semifinal matchups that took place. We'll catch you up on some news and perhaps get in some MHA trivia, and we'll preview the championship game. So we'll start some things off here with the news. Easy for me to say.
To me, the most amazing about the news is that whatever goes on in the world, it exactly fits the number of pages that they're using in the paper that day. Interesting concept.
Obviously, there are COVID situations and injuries galore, but we're only going to really focus on the news that matters, especially with the championships coming up. So, Washington running back Antonio Gibson continues to be hampered by a hip injury. He was limited in practice today. He did play last weekend and scored 11 points on NWA's bench. He's currently on the NWA's starting roster, so I'm sure that's something he'll keep an eye on. Antonio Gibson. Notorious CUP also dealing with some running back stuff. Javonte Williams battling through some knee issues and has done so the last few weeks. He had 7 attempts on Sunday, scoring 9 points, mostly because he fell into the end zone. That Broncos team's a mess. And so Javonte Williams dealing with some stuff. He looks like he'll probably play. Steelers rookie tight end Pat Freiermuth, who is currently in CUP starting lineup dealing with a concussion. He did not play last Sunday. Quayne does have CJ Uzama on the bench if Freiermuth doesn't go. And that's really about it for the news. Mike Williams, who missed last week's game due to a positive COVID test, he'll also miss this week's game. But CUP probably not needing him, rolling out with Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown, and CeeDee Lamb. Anything else I'm missing, gentlemen?
Nope.
No, not that I can think of.
Perfect. Like I said, it's more news for the championship game, and we'll talk more about that as we go along. But now it's time for some MHA trivia.
If my answers frighten you, Vincent, then you should cease asking scary questions. I'm gonna take it.
I know you guys are excited for this. Todd, you need to get a win here. I don't think you're going to catch up with Mikey on the total season, and we'll talk about that maybe in the next show or the show after that. But I think you just need a win to feel good. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, a win would be nice, but it's all in good fun. It's all in good
Todd's
fun.
already chalking up a loss, it sounds like.
He needs to step his game up.
It's reverse psychology, okay, guys? Reverse psychology.
Maybe you just need to do it for Madden.
There you go. Boom.
There you go. Okay, so I'm just going to ask you guys some questions. I have a limited amount of questions, so we'll get through them, and whoever has the most points wins MHA trivia for this episode. Okay, it's about championship week here in the MHA. So how many times, and some of these are going to be easy, but if you do, and both can you answer, both of you can get a point, so no one needs to rush to get it. So we'll start with the first question. How many times has the NWA been in the championship match?
Twice.
I think it's 3.
And the answer is 3 times. 2021, 2020, and 2009. 2 wins and a loss. That loss coming in 2009. So Mikey picks up the first point. How about CUP? Notorious CUP, also in the championship games. How many times has he been in the championship game?
I think only 2.
Miguel.
Well, I know for sure that it's 3 because he's won 2, and this is he's in it now. So that Todd's already wrong.
Yeah, of course. What a shocker.
I don't know if he's ever been and lost. I'm trying to think. I'm gonna say 3.
And the answer is 4. Because you are correct. He has been in it. He's won it a couple times already. He's won it twice. He's also in this year's. And as worst name ever, lost in 2007.
That season never happened. Redacted.
Well, what's wrong with that season, Miguel? Something wrong with that season?
No.
Why don't you explain to the audience
Yeah.
why?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I wasn't around 2007, but please elaborate.
Look, anything's redacted where I'm not in it.
Oh, I see. I see.
God.
Well, that was in 2007. Line rip. Aaron won his first championship against worst name ever, which was also Queen's team. So no one gets the point for that one. Okay, we'll go to the next one. NWA versus CUP is a first-time championship matchup. Have we ever had a rematch of a previous championship game? So has there been any like duplicate champions, the same teams versus each other in that championship game?
I'll say, probably going to be wrong, but I'll say no.
Okay, Todd says 0. Mikey?
I'm gonna say yes.
All right, and the answer is yes. So Mikey picks up another point. We have seen. Do you guys want to guess, or Mikey, do you have any guesses?
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna guess me and you have faced off more than once.
That is correct, and we split those two.
Yeah. The other ones. Yeah, I don't know. I was sure me and you did, but I don't know who else did.
Well, Mikey, it also involves you in this second one, this other one. Also, Supreme Clientele, 2014, 2016. You both split those two.
Okay.
So well done. You still get a point. You have 2-0 right now. All right. Which team has been in the title game the most times?
Ooh.
Todd?
I will say it's got to be Aaron at this point.
All right. Todd says Aaron. Mikey, who do you say?
This is interesting because Aaron's been 5. I know I've been 5 at least, unless I'm forgetting a loss somewhere along the line, which I might be. So I'm going to say it's me.
So he says Hot Tamales. And the answer is the Hot Tamales. In fact, the Tamales have been in the championship game 7 times. Second place, Lemonheads and Lion Rip, both at 5 times. Well done, Miguel. Champ. Stud. We got a couple more questions here. There are 2 teams who are currently still in the league that have never been to a championship match. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Let me try that again. There are currently 2 teams in this league that have been to a championship match but has not won it. Can you name those 2 teams?
It has to be Belt Sanders and... No. Who's been to a championship has never won it.
Correct.
I'll say Belt Sanders and... Gonzo Cats.
Okay, Gonzo Cats and Belt Sanders. Mikey, your answer?
Let's see. Yeah, I'll say that that's right. I mean, I don't remember Allen ever going, but it doesn't mean it never happened. And I don't think Dylan or Miles have been. But of course it could be teams that no longer exist too, so I don't know. But I'm going to go with Allen and Gonzo Cats too.
Okay, well, both of you get that correct. It was teams that are currently still in the league. It's part of the question. But you guys did a good job. You both get a point. So Mikey's up to 4. And Todd gets his first point on the evening. And the third question, there are currently 3. So there are 3 current teams that have never been. Who are those 3 teams? been to a championship match, I should say. You were talking about Belt Sanders, not sure. They went in 2012 and lost to Notorious CUP. Gonzo Cats went in 2010 and lost to the Butterfingers. And yeah, those two teams. So who are the three teams that have never been? Todd?
So now this isn't current. This would be
This
like,
is teams currently in the league.
all right.
Have never been to a championship match.
Dylan, Kevin, and Miles.
Okay, Mikey, your turn.
I agree with those three.
And that's correct. Well done. So Mikey ends up winning 5-2. Well done, Miguel. Mikey wins again. He's amazing.
It's
Well, I mean,
fantastic.
it partially helped that I know, stuff about myself. So
Oh, that's so
Well, you didn't
fantastic.
realize that you went to 7 times. I mean, you figured you had more than 5.
yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a while. I don't remember some of those earlier ones.
Those were the good old days, at least for me. Those were the good old days when I finished 4th, 2nd, 1st, 3rd, 1st. There was a 6th, and then 1st and 3rd. It was some good old days back in the 2002 to 2009 range. Oy. All right. Let's. I guess we'll talk about these matchups now. Ugh, this is the worst. Semifinal matchup number 1. Yours truly, the Lemonheads, taking on the NWA. Was it a matchup? Not really. Well, we knew coming into this one that Eric's team was a little decimated. No DeAndre Swift, no Kareem Hunt. Travis Kelce could not clear flipping COVID-19. So it was an uphill climb from the start. And this one was pretty much over in the first hour. NWA had 4 touchdowns from Josh Allen, Cordero Patterson, and Justin Jackson. In that first hour, the defending champs were up 103-35 at the first half of the 11 a.m. games. And I felt like that was it. Sure, Dak Prescott scored 67 points, but it was still far off. He needed another 30 to really make it interesting. 66 points from Josh Allen, who had 40 at halftime. Let me look, and I apologize for my language, but those Jesus, man. They went for it on 4th down every single time. They didn't realize they had a kicker. I don't know if they were worried about the wind, but they went for it on 4th down every single time, and he had 40 points at half. It was ridiculous. I was pissed off, of course.
Hey, I mean, 40 points at half, that was nothing compared to, 63 that Dak had at the half.
Yeah.
Well, and how much did he end up with?
67.
That's not the point. He had
That is the
63
point.
at the half.
That is the point. Because come on, it's a way different game because New England at least made it a contest. So they forced him to keep throwing. That game was over in the first quarter. And Dak had 3 more points in the second half. It was terrible. Back to that matchup. Justin Jackson, who he picked up off waivers, had his best day as a human being. 28 darn points, so ridiculous. 179 points for the defending champs. Tyreek Hill, another disappointing weekend. 36 points from the Chiefs offense, and Tyreek Hill had 2. Kelsey's replacement, Hunter Henry, 1 point. DeAndre Swift's replacement, 6 points. A very uneventful and anticlimactic semifinal game number 1. Boring. It's terrible.
Yeah, I wrote down,
Yes, please.
that, I took a look every receiver and running back that NWA had, and this was even on his bench.
Yep.
Either had a touchdown or had 100 yards.
Golly, T. Higgins, man. Whew.
Yeah, T. Higgins on his bench.
33 points. Golly.
And he still scored 179 points.
Yeah, he had Antonio Brown on his bench. He had Hunter Renfrow on his bench.
It wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have mattered. There would have been any combination of anything that would have beaten you.
I mean, he had double digits from all but 4 of all of his players. Cordell Patterson had 8. New Orleans defense had 8. Foster Moreau, 7. And he had 0 from Harrison Butker because he had COVID. But everyone else had double figures. It was awful. And I'll tell you what, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to mention. It doesn't matter. All right. Let's talk about semifinal matchup number 2. It was a way better matchup. On a season where Line Rip seemed to pick the wrong QB between his quarterback carousel of Joe Burrow and Kirk Cousins, well, he picked the right one this week as Burrow exploded for 83 fantasy points, 37 completions, 4 passing touchdowns, and a new Bengals record of 525 passing yards. Unreal. He also got great days from Stephon Diggs, who piled up 17 points. Mark Andrews, another 20-point day, but not much else, including a single point for Darrell Henderson Jr. Henderson actually got hurt and would land on the IL. Todd, what are you yapping about? What are you chuckling about?
It was just funny because when Aaron asked me, should I play Darrell Henderson Jr.? And I said, sure, why not?
This is all Todd's fault. We'll get to that. Henderson actually got hurt and would land on the IL. Aaron did pick the right QB, but picked the wrong flex position. He was debating with all of us about Henderson or Devin Singletary. Singletary ended up with 15 points and would have made the difference, obviously, because this game ended in a tie. The big guns for CUP came through. Patrick Mahomes, 51. Cooper Kupp, 15. How about the bold move, bringing in A.J. Brown, who just came off the IL a few days before, in an offense that had been struggling? Well, Quayne was rewarded, and A.J. Brown a season-high 24 points, which was huge, obviously, because every point mattered. CUP didn't have Austin Eckler in this one and got just 14 points from Javonte Williams and Tony Pollard, his starting running backs, but they were better than Lion Rips running backs of James Robinson and Melvin Gordon, who combined for 2 total points. Robinson did leave his game early, would later be told he had a torn ACL. The final 136-136. Notorious CUP advances based on the regular season head-to-head matchup with Aaron, winning back in week 10, 164-139. So there you go. A tie game. Who would have thought that it would come down? And so fun, exciting, I'm sure just crazy, even up to maybe even right now, because of stat corrections. I've seen it in the past where you think you won and a stat correction puts you out of the championship game, or I would have 6 championship game appearances. But man, oh man, what a matchup, huh, guys?
Yeah, that was going. I mean, 83 points from Burrow. That's pretty good.
I don't think that I've ever seen before somebody play 3 running backs and all 3 of them have 1 point. That's like impossible. But it happened.
2 of them injured.
2 of them hurt, but even still, I mean, it's nuts. Here's Aaron's bad luck. So I wrote that down. The 3 running backs, 3 points. Keenan Allen, worst game of the season. His kicker, Nick Folk, worst game of the season. I mean, it's bad timing, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 injuries. Yeah, just wasn't meant to be for Aaron. That sucks.
Yeah, stat correction can't save him now.
Well, actually, it can. I mean, you'll see. So it says stat corrections can be applied by Thursday. So
oh boy, yeah,
that's
I
tomorrow.
see it just now. Actually, yeah, you're right. Week 16 stats may change if stat corrections are applied by Thursday, December 3rd. So, Quayne maybe not out of the woods quite yet. I was looking over that because they have like a tab you can click on that talks about the stat corrections from week to week, and most of them came on Wednesdays. A lot of them were on defensive side of things. Seen a couple like 1 passing yard or 1 rushing yard making a difference, but not a lot of stat corrections. It seemed like Yahoo, from what I can tell, does a pretty good job of getting it all in while it can, but you just never know. I remember I got mine on Christmas morning. I think Mikey's the one who texted me and said, guess what? You're not in the championship game. And I was ready to destroy all my presents that my parents got me, but that's life. That's when it's 136 to 136.
Hey, I know the feeling. I got stat corrected against Todd that cost me a playoff game.
That's right. Yeah, it happens.
Big Ben fumble.
I thought
Still fumbling today.
I seriously thought it was a joke. I thought, okay, maybe something's wrong with the computer. Refreshed, logged out, just to make sure. And yeah, it took a fumble from Ben and Big Ben, and then a sack from New England's defense. But yeah, stat correction can be your best friend. Other times it can be your worst enemy.
So those are the 2 matchups, and so that's going to set up the Notorious CUP versus the NWA championship match. The defending champs coming in and going to take on CUP, who's been the number 1 team for not all of the season, but the most important part of the season down the stretch, taking the number 1 seed. And Dewey, obviously in my situation, no doe of the week, but I guess we have to give it to Aaron, who picked the wrong flex position.
It's tough. I
That's
mean,
such a tough situation, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't really. I don't know. Can you?
You can't predict injuries, right?
You can't. No, that's at least if
Or
they
maybe
knew.
maybe we don't hand out a Doe of the Award a week.
Yeah,
Losing's enough, right?
yeah. So no dough.
yeah, it's difficult. I mean,
I mean, he'll be the first to tell you that he made the wrong decision. I mean, that's what he was telling us in the text messaging. He knew that was going to be a big deciding factor in the outcome of this matchup. I don't know. He might take his Doe Award and carry it with him. He understands how important that move was. Every point's important when you're tied 136 to 136.
yeah, let's give it to him.
Yeah, I mean, let's just.
Yeah, I think so. I think Aaron will wear it. He'll know. He knew it from the beginning. He was so concerned. He talked about me the day before. He talked about it in that morning, and then he talked about it in text message. He knew it was going to be incredibly important. He felt confident in the Joe Burrow over Kirk Cousins thing. He felt that before the week even started. So he knew the matchup was going to be in favor, considering Joe Burrow also did great against Baltimore earlier in the year. Yeah, that's such a tough situation. And I mean, it's fantasy football. It's easy to get upset about it, but at the same time, we have no control over it.
No,
All we can do is do as much research and thought and outcome and whatever the case may be, whatever we do to decide what players go in. But I mean, who knows? We don't have no clue.
Yeah,
I know some of us get upset more than others, especially yours truly. But I mean, I'm not out there running the ball. Someone's not giving me the ball to go score a touchdown, and I would be terrible. I'd be hurt on the first play too. So, sorry, Aaron. I know you were playing with house money at this point. You didn't feel like you had a good enough team, but you got into the semifinals. So good for you. But we're going to give you the Doe Award as well.
No! Don't!
Dope.
Yes. I mean, we talked about the matchups. It's hard to talk about the top performances, but I guess we can look through them. I mean, give me someone that stood out to you that you liked or you didn't like. I mean, obviously with Joe Burrow doing what he's doing and Dak and Patrick Mahomes, a lot of good quarterback performances this semifinal matchup.
Yeah, a lot of high scoring. I mean, obviously not a surprise. I mean, it's the league from the beginning, quarterback numbers have been high, regardless. But yeah, getting 83, on a semifinal day, that's pretty good. And, Joe Burrow definitely is, show he could, kind of maybe going into next year be that. I mean, I don't be in the upper echelon, but, maybe be in that close to third or second tier of quarterbacks maybe. So
and I'm glad Todd mentioned it. Like it went back to my point, when I said that quarterbacks were scarce this year. To me, it's not a coincidence that the two teams that drafted quarterback first are the two teams playing in the championship game.
This is true. Patrick Mahomes went in the first round.
And Josh Allen was first pick of the second.
So there you go. Like the NWA, who could have picked Josh Allen in the first if he wanted to, because it was back-to-back picks for him.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Quarterbacks. It's a quarterback central league. We're kind of going back to the early days. Obviously, the early days we had a 2-quarterback league, but those were guys that put up pretty consistent numbers all year long. Sure, Josh Allen had a couple of blunders, but really, I mean, he came up big when he needed them the most.
Yeah, and just it goes to speak, though, the NWA's team. I did a little research on this today. Do you guys realize that when Josh Allen scores at least 50, NWA is 7-0, and his team averages 154 points a game?
So there you have it. Mikey busting out the calculator, getting back into the season stats.
Yeah,
7-0 when he gets 50 or more points.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
what else stood out to you? Some quarterback play. I mean, that Justin Jackson thing is unbelievable. I understand that to lose Austin Eckler and NWA, who had a higher waiver than the rest of us, picked him up so no one else could have him. But I was surprised he played him. I mean, because he had Antonio Gibson, and yeah, he was questionable, and that looks like it was his only other option. But to put in Justin Jackson, who has not had a double-digit performance all season long. He had a 9 the previous week against Kansas City, but to put him in, and then he busts off for 28 points. What fantasy devil is this guy talking to?
You know what it reminds me of when I was in my championship game was Jerome Simpson. You know, both. I think at the time, Terrell Owens and Chad Ochocinco, or Chad Johnson, I don't know whatever he's calling himself these days, were both out. So, you know, I kind of threw a dart at the dartboard. I was like, all right, you know, there's nobody else that's going to throw. You know, somebody has to throw the ball somewhere, and Jerome Simpson was one of them. So it's kind of stuff like that. Just, you know, players out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's not a fantasy devil. He knows Houston's
it's
one of
the
the worst rushing defenses in the entire league. I mean, they had given up 5 other performances of 20 plus to running backs. They've given up almost 20 rushing touchdowns. So I'm sure, you know, he knew that. In the past weeks, they had given up, you know, 16 to James Robinson, 26 to Rashad Penny. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, yeah, I got 24 against him. That's usual, but like they've been getting gashed every single week by running back. So I'm sure he saw that, knew that they were going to have to use Justin Jackson, and took the chance.
Yeah, and it paid off wonders. I mean, that's his best game as a pro. I'm just kind of going through, you know, he's played in the league 4 years now. I mean, that's just by far. He's had a 63-yard performance with a touchdown, a 58-yard performance and a touchdown, at 89 yards rushing last year. But man, oh man, it's put up 2 touchdowns, 64 yards, 5.8 yards per carry, 8 receptions. Goodness. Talk about a great probably pickup of the year,
Well,
at least for a weekly basis.
and game script you wouldn't have thought would have worked that way, that he could have gotten that 8 receptions, but they allowed Houston to score 41 points.
Yeah.
Like, who saw that coming? Like, you would have figured that the Chargers would have blown Houston out, but no, it went the exact opposite way and worked in his favor.
Worked in his favor. Unbelievable stuff, man. Good old fantasy football.
Gotta love
Just
it.
don't know, but if you have a gut feeling, and when you have that gut feeling working for you, that's why you win championships games, because sometimes you have a feeling on something and it works out, and it keeps, and one thing leads to another, and the confidence starts building, and then next thing you know, you're in the championship game. Anything else we want to talk about these matchups, or should we go on and talk about the championship preview?
Let's talk about that championship, because there's going to be some fireworks.
So you're expecting I mean, it's projecting a 156 to 153 performance between the NWA and CUP, the number 1 and number 2 seeds.
Oh yeah. I mean, both of these quarterbacks have, like, they couldn't ask for better matchups. Mahomes has Cincinnati. Josh Allen has Atlanta. There's going to be some points scored. I mean, both of those defense are awful against quarterbacks.
Yeah. And you talk about the wide receivers, Deebo Samuel, who also runs the incredibly well, will play Houston. Cooper Kupp's got Baltimore. Goodness gracious, man.
Yep, no secondary in Baltimore.
That's right. And you'll see if CUP gets Austin Eckler back. He seemed like he was fine. He was just going through the COVID protocol stuff. So hopefully for him, he's kind of back into it. But yeah, it looks like he's going Gibson. Go ahead, Miguel.
Well, plus you also have A. Brown versus A. Brown. Which one is the better one?
He's got Antonio Brown in there right now instead of Deontay Johnson, who's got Cleveland this week. So there's that. He's got T. Higgins, who he had on his bench yesterday. He's got him in there for maybe Patterson. He's got Cordell Patterson on the bench, who's got Buffalo, who's always a tough defense, especially against running backs.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of and then you look at the defensive matchups. I mean, you've got that good New England defense going up against crappy Jacksonville. Plenty of points to be had there. You got the Saints going against crappy Carolina. There could be plenty of points there. Yeah, this is going to be some sort of championship match. I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be. It's gonna be a lot of points, but yeah, some. I mean, I think I maybe that might be the little deciding factor if they still stick with it. But Javante Williams versus Antonio Gibson. Um, you know, I mean, obviously, Javante Williams is very capable of it, and Gibson too. But I think that might be a little bit that might be the deciding factor. Because I mean, you look at the other matchups. Cooper Cup versus Debo Samuel. That's going to be a heavyweight fight. And like Mikey said, the two Browns. Obviously both matchups for them are just freaking great. I mean, if they're Tampa Bay is playing the Jets. Holy crap! And two, the fact that Godwin is done, and Evans is hurt too. So if anything, that might be the one that tilts really toward NWA, maybe, because if they have a big day with that one, because Tom Brady's gonna at the end of the day is gonna force feed the ball to Antonio Brown. Promise you that. I mean, Gronk's gonna be there, but he will force feed the ball to Antonio Brown.
So, Mikey, what do you think the difference is going to be? Is it going to be the quarterback play? Is it going to come from somewhere else? We haven't talked too much about the tight ends and Freiermuth and who's going to play on Monday nights. That's the only player so far in the starting lineups that's even going to be on Monday night. And Pitts, who had one of his better performances on the season, double digits last time. Or what do you think ends up being the difference?
I think the quarterbacks are going to end up canceling each other out because I think both of them are going to be somewhere in the range of 55 to 65.
Goodness.
Like I truly believe like both these guys are about to, light the world up. But I think that'll kind of even itself out. The receivers, I give, man, I don't even know. Like I would want to say like I would give a slight edge to CUP, but just because of Cooper Cup, he's been so amazing. But the matchups almost swing me in WA's way there. The running backs is interesting because Eckler is the best player, but he has the worst matchup.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so that almost evens the field.
I mean, he did have 18 against Denver last time, but it was 12 attempts for 31 yards. And I think he mostly got that on receiving end of the game.
Golly, I just, my prediction on this is I have a feeling this is going to come down to something stupid, like unexpected. Like maybe this is where, New England's defense has one of those New England defense games and puts up somewhere over 20 and puts them over the top. Because, I mean, that's kind of what happens in these matchups. It's something that you're not anticipating. And usually it's the defense that does something stupid like that. It puts up a ridiculous number.
I don't think there's a better matchup than New England versus Jacksonville in all the league. I mean, New England needs to win. Jacksonville is reeling. It's at home in New England. It doesn't really say too much about the weather than maybe cloudy, but yikes.
Yeah,
that could be the end all be all right there.
Yeah, and I mean, the remaining piece, at least right now, and that's kind of the interesting part of this for me is, Freiermuth is a Monday night game. He's questionable, so there's going to be a decision that comes down where CUP is going to have to decide, in the morning whether or not he's going to swap to Uzama. If he's not sure Freiermuth's going to play, then he may have to figure that out. I mean,
yeah, that's a risk. That's a risk. Unless you want to go pick up. I don't think. Yeah, David Njoku might be out there, so maybe he goes picks him up just as kind of a fail safe. Unless you want to go with the Freiermuth backup, who I couldn't tell you off the top of my head who that might be, but family Vance Johnson's still out there. But yeah, it should be an interesting one. I mean, the two best teams are there, right? I mean, Kevin was up there, but he faltered down the stretch. But these might be the two best teams we have, and they're going to go toe to toe. I don't know what else you can ask for.
Yeah, and if NWA wins and wins back to back, hopefully we'll have a chance to have him on again because just taking a look at his team, like I have honestly got to give him kudos with the depth that he's built. I mean, you think about this. He has 5 receivers in the top 22 right now
Goodness gracious.
and 3 running backs in the top 17. And that's to go with a top 10 tight end and a top 2 quarterback. That's pretty unprecedented. And one of those receivers is not Antonio Brown. So, yeah, I mean,
He's done well.
his team is stacked top to bottom. But I mean, in CUP's case, his team's pretty stacked too. You know,
Yeah,
this is going to be fun.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. This is gonna be a heavyweight fight. This might be, kind of like how the championship game in 2018, with me and Aaron, it was just body blows back and forth, and I think this matchup might, this one might be epic. We might see both of them getting maybe close to 200 points. It's very possible because the matchups definitely do help, them putting up a lot of points. Now, granted, too, the matchups also, you look at one side of it. Yeah, the matchups are great and put up a lot of points, but that also could mean too, they might, if the game's out of reach for the other team and they know they're up big, they might, sit the players. So you got to look at that factor too. But that's all speculation. So we'll see what happens on Championship Sunday.
So these two teams faced off against each other once during the regular season. Obviously, that's important because if there ends up being a tie, it goes to the team that won the regular season matchup. And NWA beat CUP in the final regular season game in Week 14, 157-154. Josh Allen, 74 points. He also got 10 from Deontay Johnson. Debo Samuel had 11. Cordero Patterson, 13. He had 22 from Tennessee's defense. On the other side, Mahomes with 44 points. Cooper Kupp with 25. CeeDee Lamb, 11. Austin Eckler, 14. Javonte Williams had 20. Kansas City had 25. Goodness gracious. But it was that 30-point difference. Josh Allen, 74 points against Tampa Bay's defense. So, the previous matchup was pretty epic in its own right, but that'll be the difference if it ends up being a tie. NWA would take that matchup. Interesting.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not a tie. I don't want a tie. I want a clear cut,
Clear
no
cut.
doubt
Yeah,
winner in this matchup.
yeah, ties are okay for regular season, but yeah, championship. I don't. That'd be very anticlimactic. I'll tell you that right now. But we'll see.
Yeah, so there it is. Semifinals in the books, championship left to go. Can NWA be back to back, or are we going to see Notorious CUP pick up their third championship? Good luck to both owners. Guys, any last things you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Just getting ready. Just start doing research for next year.
Already starting the research.
I thought that we were going to break down the Conso Championship.
Oh, are we? I don't know if we're going to do that.
I mean,
Look, this is a heavyweight fight between me and Kilgore Trout. I mean, how many games has Kilgore Trout won in a row? I mean, come on, give the guy a break.
I'm sorry. If people want to check out the consolation bracket, they can go to the website and follow it all the way through.
Consolation supremacy. Go get it, Mikey.
You're done. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yep. Fantasy football season. Done. Well, done for me.
Hey, you still got a third place game left.
I do. And of course, everybody's healthy on my team.
There you go.
Everybody's ready to roll. I got Prescott. I got Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Carter, DeAndre Swift back. Travis Kelce is back. Kareem Hunt still kind of questionable, but yeah, I mean, I'll still put my guys in, but I haven't looked for anybody off the free agent wire.
Eric's
It
just
happens,
like,
it happens.
Eric,
Whatever.
if Eric wins, he gets his money back. All right.
Look, Aaron has beaten you both times this year, so you don't want him to go 3-0 against you, right?
It's insignificant to me.
He's like, I don't care.
If it happens, it happens.
What the hell?
For those who are in the fantasy baseball league, I've already sent the email getting ready for that season, so I've moved on. Apparently, I've moved on.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Well, that'll do it for another MHA podcast. Eric Lansing, Mikey Renault, Todd Diamond. We'll see you next week. We'll recap the championship matchup, and maybe we'll get through some of the board bets. I guess we have to start listening for the shows to kind of catch everybody up on where we're at. And we'll talk about, or maybe we'll look back on the season as a whole. We'll figure out what we'll do, but we'll have another episode next week. So make sure you tune in right here on the MHA podcast.